Laser reveals ancient pyramids and canals hidden in the Amazon. Archaeologist Percy Harrison Fawcett dedicated his research to exploring South America and looking for a lost Amazonian city before he went missing in 1925. The expedition during which Fawcett went missing was on his search for Zed, the name given to an ancient lost city he and others believed was tucked away in the jungles of Brazil. We never found out exactly how the quest for Z went. Did Fawcett find evidence of the city or not? While we may never be able to answer that question, we can indeed draw closer to finding out where cities may have fallen in the Bolivian Amazon. In 2022, scientists uncovered pyramids and canals sitting beneath the forests. Of course, the trees and greenery can obstruct an aerial view, though LiDAR technology has facilitated researchers' abilities to see through these trees and reveal hundreds of structures and settlements. These discoveries have overwhelmingly been found to have come from the Kasarabi culture of 500 to 1400 AD. LiDAR is a relatively new technological development that has proved to be invaluable in the field of archaeology up until this point. In this study, it allowed researchers to move through the dense rainforest and make the discovery of pyramids, canals, and what are seemingly town-like civilizations from long before invaders arrived. In this expedition, scientists from Germany and the UK used helicopters fitted with light detection to search through 6 regions of Bolivia. The Colorado State University archaeologist Chris Fisher said, "This is the first of what I hope will be a huge series of studies that will blow the lid off of preconception about what pre-Hispanic polities looked like in the Amazon in terms of their complexity, size, and density. The development of technology will continue to let us explore, discover, and revolutionize our understanding, slowly changing the world as we know it." The Earth's shell has cracked, and we're drifting on the pieces. The stability of our planet comes from the strength of our tectonic plates. Despite our quest for knowledge, there is still an endless amount we do not know or understand about how the tectonic plates work. It's only within the past century that we have uncovered anything concrete about them, leaving much information yet to be discovered. Scientists believe that our planet's outer shell has long since shattered, and that the plates we live upon are moving about over the boiling liquid rock beneath. Believers of this theory explain that it makes sense due to the unpredictable nature of our planet's movements, mountain structures, and sudden volcanic eruptions. Scientists struggle to agree on a date when exactly the tectonic plates came into being. Particular groups of geologists argue it is a relatively recent phenomenon, at about 1 billion years ago, whilst others claim it must have existed as long as the Earth. A geophysicist from Yale University, Yun Korinaga, has stated in the 1960s and 70s, when people came up with the notion of plate tectonics, they didn't think about what it was like in the distant past. People were so busy trying to prove plate tectonics by looking at the present situation, or were caught up applying the concept to problems in their own field. The origin issue is a much more recent debate. Venus, considered the evil twin of Earth by some, has been the center of geophysicists' fascination in hopes of investigating Venus's own tectonic situation to illuminate the knowledge of our own. Unfortunately, and most curiously, despite our planets sharing similar terrains and sizes, Venus lacks tectonic plates. Is this another thing that makes Earth special? Geophysicist Aubrey Zirkle of the University of St. Andrews said, "We need plate tectonics to sustain life. If there was not a way of recycling material between mantle and crust, all these elements that are crucial to life, like carbon, nitrogen, phosphorus, and oxygen, would get tied up in rocks and stay there." Evidently, most planets do not experience shifting continents or tectonic activity beneath their surface, but recent studies suggest life on Earth could not have survived without it. Ancient documents prove humans held some notion of shifting continental drifts even then, meaning the tectonic plates have been around for at least as long as humanity has existed. It's thought that Earth has 9 primary outer sections, with 6 smaller segments of oceanic tectonic plates that ride upon the continental tectonic plates. In other words, it's like shifting machinery or clockwork affected by magma from the Earth's core. The oceanic plates move up and down due to the extreme heat pressure, making the mantle and crust of the Earth move about and sometimes crash together, causing natural disasters such as tsunamis or earthquakes. They shake and quake and appear, on paper, to be unstable, yet many geologists believe they provide the planet with the stability it requires for life to thrive by balancing the planet as a whole and letting gases and materials recycle and keep the planet's temperature maintained. We may never know the truth behind tectonic plates. Aliens could be using Dyson spheres to harvest black hole energy. It is hard to discuss the enormous unknowns and possibilities concerning the almost incomprehensible expanse of our solar system without considering the possibility of as yet undiscovered alien life forms. Although UFO sightings and theories of Area 51 government cover-ups fall into the category of conspiracies, scientists studying the limitless vastness beyond our Milky Way galaxy must consider the very possibility that there could be alien life forms in other galaxies, and that these life forms may be much more societally and technologically developed than we are. One of the propositions of advanced alien technology that could feasibly exist are Dyson spheres. The theoretical idea, proposed by Freeman Dyson, involves a structure encircling a star with multiple orbiting platforms to capture and redirect the energy emitted from the star in order to use its power. Recently, astronomers from National Tsinghua University in Taiwan began to think about these Dyson spheres and their potential applications for harvesting energy from black holes, which are some of the brightest objects in space as far as energy radiation is concerned. The astronomers realized that it was highly feasible and practical to build a Dyson sphere around the entrance to a black hole and proposed that more advanced alien life forms may have already done so. The principles behind why a Dyson sphere is more practical for a black hole than a star as far as energy production is concerned deals with the fact that black holes are smaller than stars but manage to contain an amazing amount of energy in that small area. This energy affects particles surrounding the black hole, which heat up due to friction, and bursts of energy frequently shoot from pores in the hole. It would be cheaper, material-wise, to build a Dyson sphere around a black hole due to its smaller size, and the potential energy production would be up to 100,000 times greater than that of a star. And although aliens might not be using the exact principles of Dyson spheres, the scientists speculated that they might use some forms of satellites instead to harvest X-ray energy in a similar concept as solar panels. Because of the large amount of energy that would be redirected from a structure harvesting energy from black holes, there would be a definitive ultraviolet or infrared energy signature, which Earth-bound scientists might be able to see from the Milky Way and may already have been recorded by satellites. With this new possibility of signatures of alien life forms, the scientists interested in pursuing this theory must now go back through records and begin looking for such telltale radiation signatures. Perhaps confirmation of alien life forms is coming sooner than we think. Mariana Trench, deepest ever subdive, finds a plastic bag. Researchers today are finding objects that expose mankind's far-reaching impact on the ecosystem, and one of these was recently made at the bottom of the Mariana Trench. Victor Vescovo, a 53-year-old financier and former Navy Reserve captain, travelled approximately 7 miles to the bottom of the Mariana Trench. The dive, which surpassed a record set by Titanic filmmaker James Cameron in 2012, revealed sad proof of humanity's detrimental impact on the planet. The divers found plastic bags and wrappers at the ocean's deepest depths. Vescovo and his team identified 4 new species while travelling 35,853 feet below the surface, which could help throw light on Earth's enigmatic origins. Vescovo said the following: "I believe that going to extremes is a natural propensity of man, and I also believe that wanting to push ourselves to our limits is a beautiful component of our nature, which has helped us get to where we are now as a species." Although oceanographers Don Walsh and Jacques Piccard first investigated Challenger Deep in 1960, this is the first on-camera evidence of what lies beneath the Pacific. The goal of the project is to make sonar mapping of Earth's deepest locations, such as the Puerto Rico Trench in the Atlantic Ocean, the South Sandwich Trench in the South Atlantic, the Java Trench in the Indian Ocean, and the Malloy Deep in the Arctic Ocean. Vescovo continued with the following. I crisscrossed all over the bottom looking for various wildlife, perhaps unique geological formations or rocks, man-made artifacts, and yes, trying to see if there was an even deeper position than where the bathyscaphe Trieste went back in 1960. Giant prawn-like amphipods and bottom-feeding sea cucumbers were among the findings found aboard the limiting factor, the world's first titanium-hulled two-person submersible to go this deep. Also, the scientists want to examine the deep water critters for plastic buildup. While it is impossible to say how far those plastics drifted to end up in one of the world's lowest points, our oceans are quickly becoming giant trash cans. The Great Pacific Garbage Patch, an island of garbage the size of Texas in the open ocean between Hawaii and California, continues to add more man-made waste to its expanding surface area. Despite all of those dives, humanity has only seen about 5% of the ocean. Scientists are being pushed to develop new deep-sea research methods as part of a new X Prize initiative. Mysterious shark disappearances. Sharks are some of the most notorious survivors on our planet. Their ancestors can be directly traced back hundreds of millions of years, and, according to National Geographic, they have made it through at least 4 mass extinctions and are older than even the oldest fossil forest. However, as successful as they may be, scientists have discovered that they used to be even more plentiful in the oceans of our planet, and that 19 million years ago, some mysterious event decimated the shark population so drastically that they have never been able to recover. Recent analysis of denticles or shark scales found in fossilized samples on the seafloor has revealed an astounding array of shark species. These samples are abundant and impressively varied in the geological records dating up to around 19 million years ago, after which point the population of sharks in the open oceans across the entire globe mysteriously decreased by over 90%. Considering that sharks only suffered about 30% loss during the famous mass extinction that wiped out the dinosaurs, scientists now know that an incredibly large worldwide event must have occurred to be able to affect sharks so drastically. However, the truly strange part is that an event that large should have left a mark in other places besides just the shark population. But amazingly, nobody knows what that event could have been. There are no other markers of such an extinction in any species so far studied, and the event is not chronologically near any known major climate shifts or major evolutionary changes. And, although the cause of this strange extinction is not immediately apparent, what is clear is the effects that such a dramatically reduced population had on the other open ocean animals. Following the extinction and the immediate removal of such a large portion of formidable ocean predators, an incredible amount of diversity appeared in groups such as fish, whales, other sharks, and even seabirds, who were able to evolve much more rapidly in the absence of a large number of sharks prowling the seas. Alarmingly, it appears that in the intervening 19 million years, sharks were never able to fully recover from taking such a mysteriously large hit, and a study published by Nature has found that the number of sharks in today's modern oceans has continued to fall. Even more concerning, this decline has sped up in recent years, and since 1970, the total number of sharks in the oceans has decreased by 71% and continues to fall. The discovery of the initial hit to sharks all those millions of years ago has just served to underline to scientists the importance of top-tier predators on their ecosystems and how precarious their positions truly are. It is increasingly likely that this majestic and historically incredibly adaptable species will not be able to withstand the effects of overfishing, environmental pollution, and climate change. One thing is certain though, and that is the fact that marine biologists will be actively looking into the results of the mysterious, isolated mass shark extinction and how it affected the ocean ecosystems as we enter the age of several potential mass extinctions. 24,000-year-old organisms found frozen in Siberia can still reproduce. Biologists have made a shocking discovery, a never-before-known microscopic creature that has since been called an evolutionary scandal. The organism has been asexually producing, living and surviving for the past 24,000 years in Siberia's permafrost that is famous for its myriad of mysteries, having preserved endless findings. Deloid rotifers, all-female multicellular microbes, already thrive all across the world in moss, freshwater, ponds, lakes, soil and tree bark. Rotifers are resistant to radiation, starvation, low oxygen, and extreme temperatures of either freezing cold or scalding hot. They are truly amazing creatures to study, as they can freeze their entire metabolism at will and enter a state known as cryptobiosis, or hidden life. According to researcher Stas Malavin, it's a state kind of between life and not. The Russian Soil Cryology Lab has found many variations of such microscopic creatures, such as the 30,000-year-old nematode worm in the very same Siberian permafrost. The rotifers in question, however, have been dated to 24,000 years old. Before this finding, it was believed these microbes could survive 10 years frozen, but not more. These rotifers coexisted with mammoths and woolly rhinos, both of which are long since extinct. Malavin claims that once thawed, the microbes began to reproduce. It's currently unknown what exactly allows these creatures to survive for such vast periods of time in ice. Malavin states this discovery provides the science world with more questions than answers, but every step is closer to the truth. By analysing these rotifers, biologists would be able to discover new, innovative ways of preserving living cells for cryopreservation. We could find out how to keep human tissue, cells, and organs alive under ice. Malavin states, humans cannot preserve organs and tissues for such a considerable time. These rotifers, together with other organisms found in the permafrost, represent a result of a big natural experiment that we cannot replicate, so they are a good model to study further. A British professor of zoology at the University of Manchester, Matthew Cobb, claims that there might be all sorts of organisms and animals frozen in Siberia's permafrost, which will come to light sooner than later with the way global warming is slowly melting the ice, but additionally states, that doesn't mean that terrifying things are going to come out and eat us, but it gives scientists the possibility of studying how the rotifer has adapted to resist the bad effects of freezing and the opportunity to explore the difference between existing species and their predecessors. 110 tombs discovered on Nile Delta. If you know anything about Egypt, you might also have heard about the River Nile, which is the longest river in the world at a whopping 6,695 kilometers. Because it historically has flooded during the full time, it brought plenty of nutrients to the surrounding soil. This created perfect conditions for the ancient Egyptians to grow crops and thrive. Even today, the river remains a crucial source of life for people. In fact, more than 95% of the country's population needs it to survive. Because of how important the river was to the Egyptians spanning thousands of years back, it may come to no surprise that many burial practices took place along the Nile Delta. However, the number alone might shock you. Just recently, excavations have uncovered over 110 tombs near the delta that span over 3 eras of ancient history, including the pre-dynastic period, the Naqada III culture, and the intermediate era between the Middle and New Kingdoms. Along with the tombs, archaeologists also stumbled upon other old objects, including parts of stoves and ovens, the base foundations of long-gone brick buildings, jewelry, pottery pieces, and even scarab amulets, which represented renewal and rebirth in the Egyptian culture. However, the graves were certainly at the spotlight of attention upon the day of discovery. 68 of them were oval-shaped, which linked back to the pre-dynastic style of the Lower Egypt civilization called Buto. The bodies were in a squatting position with their heads turned to the west. Among the deceased, a baby was found to have been buried in a jar, which was a practice that still continues to confuse researchers today. One line of reasoning was that the body may have been fragile, so the jar was needed to protect it from the elements. Another interpretation relied on the idea that a jar was almost similar to that of a womb, so it could be symbolically reasoned that the baby was returning back to Mother Earth. Next were the Naqada graves, numbered to only 5 in total. Similar to the Butos ones, They were also oval-shaped pits that were carved into the sand. Some even had extra layers of clay to bolster the surrounding sides. Most impressive of the entire collection was arguably the Hyksos tombs, which were semi-rectangular pits instead of ovals and had a depth of about 8 to 33 inches. Instead of the bodies resting in a squatted position, they were extended instead, with their heads pointing westwards as well. Another child was found, but this time in a clay sarcophagus instead of a jar. These graves also contained other fancy artifacts, including silver rings, funerary vessels, and even a special seal that contained a hieroglyphic inscription. No doubt that discoveries such as this one are perfect for enticing tourism back to Egypt. But perhaps most important of all is the new discovery's imminent legacy to the ever-continuing mystery and beauty of this magnificent civilization throughout history. But what do you make of these recent discoveries? Be sure to let us know your thoughts in the comment section below and help us grow this community while working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.